Hey there, happy Friday. It is 4th of July. My name is Russ Lag, and I am the host of Big Agent Meeting today. And for the 4th of July, we've got a great show lined up for you. We got a little special with Leo Pareja you're going to get a kick out of. Of course, Brian Ellington's going to have Shannon Maxwell today talking about stuff about business and bringing business to your business, which is pretty cool. And we're going to talk market update with me right out of the gate. So let's kick it off. I usually start off with a market minute talking about something in the market, and I'm going to throw you guys a curveball because it's the 4th of July and I'm wearing my red, white, and blue. So let's call this the Patriotic Minute. USA, America, if you listen to the news media, is more divided now than we have been in a long time. And what that means is that if you guys actually go out and sit down with human beings, you're going to fight over everything, right? It's not really the way it works. So if you guys only listen to the media and you only listen to the people on television, you only listen to people in social media, you would think that everybody, if they've got different skin color, different beliefs, different religion, and different styles in the way they live, they would fight over absolutely everything. When in fact, we know that when I sit down with people of all races and colors and all different economic statuses, we all want very similar stuff. We have way more in common than we have differences because we all want to take good care of our people. We want to take care of our families. None of us wants to want for food, want for money, starve to death, and or fight and kick and scratch every day. We all want to have enough money to enjoy a good life. We all want to be able to take care of our kids. We all want to be able to have decent stuff. We don't want to have crappy cars and crappy houses and nowhere to live. We all want to have security. We all want to leave a mark. And most of us, when given the opportunity, want to make a difference in other people's lives. And when we sit down and start to talk about the things that we have in common, we find we have way more in common than we have differences. Do I agree with everybody on everything? Absolutely not. Heck, I don't even agree with myself 100% of the time on some of the things that I used to think, even back 3 and 4 and 5 and 7 and 10, 15 years. Because see, as we grow up, we learn. We hope. We learn. And as I grow up and I get a little bit older, I start to realize that the older I get, the more common we have in people with people than differences we have with people. Remember back in school, if you were dressed like we called them squid, or you're goth, or you're the rock and roll one, or you're the burnout, or you're the jock, just those tiny little differences made you feel like a completely different population. Where now in my 50s, I started like looking at all these same people and going, guys, we're all the same. If you focus on the things that you have in common with people, you're going to find that you have way more things in common. If you focus on the differences, you're going to find the differences. I want you guys to think on this 4th of July, celebrate what makes this country amazing. And what makes this country amazing isn't the country, it's the people in this country that make this country amazing. So celebrate the people, the ones that are different from you. Look for the things that you have in common and you'll find them. The people that you don't agree with, look for the things in them that you agree with, and you'll find you're going to agree with them a lot more. It's not worth going frustrated through this world thinking everybody's out to get you, because when in fact, when we all sit down and talk about it, we all want a lot of the same things. We want to live a good life, make a difference, take care of our next generation, and make the world a better place if at all possible. And it starts with you and it starts with me. So do something good for somebody today and find something in common with somebody today. All right, 4th of July. God bless America. All right. With that said, next coming up, Ian Wheatley, a KGCI radio update coming down. Take it away, Ian.
Thanks for popping by Big Agent Meeting to KGCI Real Estate on Air. This week, we are celebrating the 4 freedoms, KGCI style. Freedom of follow-up, letting ChatGPT write the email while you book the appointment. Freedom from cringe content, saying goodbye to boring branding. Freedom to generate leads without cold calling. And the freedom to learn anywhere, anytime, even while grilling burgers and flip-flops. You don't need a revolution to pull it off, just a better radio station. And look, I get it. You don't need to be an AI person, right? You just need to be an agent out there who wants their time back and a full pipeline. Because too many agents are stuck thinking that ChatGPT is just for clever listing copy or some social captions. Because the truth is, the real power of ChatGPT is in its ability to help you automate follow-up, build systems, and actually win business. That's why this week on Real Estate On Air Live, I had a conversation with Kathy Burns, who shows all of us exactly how she's using AI in everyday conversations with no coding, no prompts, and no panic. And that kicks off today's Friday Focus immediately following the Big Agent Meeting, all about how agents are using ChatGPT and AI to actually win business. It's bite-sized strategies, real examples, and zero tech snobbery, with insights from Carrie Sove, Phil Stringer, and the whole slew of our AI Mount Rushmore that you hear streaming 24/7, 365 on KGCI Real Estate On Air. So catch it your way on that always free KGCI Real Estate On Air mobile app. Makes it super easy this holiday weekend. Always streaming 24/7, 365 at realestateonair.fm or anywhere you listen to podcasts, including Apple and Spotify. Just scan the QR code and you connect all three. This Independence Day, tune in to the only station that's helping agents build business and still have time for all that fireworks. It's KGCI Real Estate On Air, radio for the free.
All right, there you go. Ian Wheatley, thank you for the KGCI radio update. Every Friday, we get an update, tells us what's going on KGCI. You want to make sure you check it out, tune in, see what's going on. They got a lot of great stuff in there. All right, next up, we have a little excerpt from a podcast with Leo Pareja and Jay Connor. Leo, take it away, brother.
Jay, thank you so much for joining me on my podcast today. I like to showcase and tell people stories, and what you do and some of the folks that follow you overlap quite well with our community, and investing in real estate has been a very important part of my journey. So when I found the opportunity to have you on, I was excited. So thank you for being here. And if you could just take us from the top of whatever part of the origin story, what took you to the business that you're in today, would be a great place to kick it off.
Sure, Leo. Well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to come along and talk about what I'm so excited and passionate about, that being private money, because private money in my real estate investing business has had more of an impact than any other strategy or anything else that I've done. So how in the world did this come about? Carol Joy, my wife, and I, we started investing in primarily single family houses. Now I've done shopping centers and condominiums, but the focus since 2003 has been single family houses here in eastern North Carolina in a very, very small area. Our total target market is only 40,000 people, and our average profits for the past 12 months have been $86,000 per transaction. And I don't share that, Leo, to brag at all. I share that to make a point. And the point is, there's an argument to be made to be a big fish in a small pond. So I don't have that many competitors here in our small area, and we do all kinds of marketing to find off-market houses and etc. So anyway, from 2003, when we started, until January of 2009, our very first 6 years, all I knew to do, Leo, to get my deals funded was go to the local bank or the mortgage company and get on my hands and knees and say, please fund my deal. And the banker would make me pull up my skirt and show my personal assets and have my credit score pulled and all that stuff. So it was traditional financing. You know what's funny, Leo? Back then, I didn't even know what hard money was. Never heard of it. That's because I live underneath a rock here in eastern North Carolina. Nonetheless, in January of 2009, Leo, everything changed. I called up my banker. His name was Steve. He had been my banker for 6 years. We'd done a lot of deals together. And I called up Steve in January 2009, and I told him about these two houses that I had under contract to purchase. And I thought I still had a line of credit at the bank. Nobody had told me otherwise. And so in the middle of that conversation, Leo, Steve informs me that my line of credit has been closed with no notice to me. And I said, Steve, what in the world are you talking about? Closing my line of credit. We got a great 6-year relationship. Always made my payments on time. I've got an 800 credit score. Why is the bank shutting down my line of credit? Steve said, Jay, don't you know there's a global financial crisis going on right now? I said, no, but you just gave me a financial crisis. I don't have a way to fund these two deals, which had a potential profit of over $100,000 just on these two deals. And so Steve proceeded to tell me, sorry, we're not loaning money out to real estate investors or any other real estate investors. So I hung up the phone, Leo. I sat here at this desk for a moment, and I thought to myself, what am I going to do? Well, I have choices. I learned from Jack Canfield the formula as to how to be in control of your destiny, which is E plus R equals O. That's the event that happens in your life. You're 100% responsible for how you want to respond to that event and therefore be a part of your own outcome that you experience. So I sat here and I asked myself a question. And the power is in asking the right questions. I want to share with you, Leo, and your audience, this powerful question that I asked myself, because the answer to this question pivoted my entire real estate investing journey. And the question I asked myself was, and by the way, this question will help solve any problem anybody has. And these people running around saying, every problem's an opportunity. I want to throw up. I want to be the Kool-Aid guy that runs into the brick wall on TV. I didn't have an opportunity. I had a problem. Let's face the facts. Now, this opportunity or this problem became an opportunity, but at the moment it's a problem. So here's the question I asked myself. I said, Jay, who do you know? It's not how, it's who. Who do you know that can help fix your problem? And that question will help fix any problem. Health, finances, career, relationships, it doesn't matter. And you know what's interesting, Leo? When I asked myself that question, I immediately thought of a dear friend of ours, Jeff Blankenship. He lived in Greensboro, North Carolina at the time, and he was investing in single-family houses. So I said, hey, I bet Jeff can help me. I called up Jeff and I told him what had just happened with me and my banker over the telephone. And Jeff said, well, welcome to the club, Jay. I said, well, what club is that? I'm not sure I want to be a member. He said, well, my bank just shut me down last week. I said, well, Jeff, how are you going to fund your single family house deals? He said, well, have you ever heard of private money? I said, no, what's that? He said, well, have you ever heard of self-directed IRAs and how individuals can move retirement funds over to a self-directed IRA company, and the interest that us real estate investors pay them is either tax-free or tax-deferred? I said, Jeff, I don't have a clue what in the world you're talking about. What's private money? He said, well, there's this gentleman down in Jacksonville, Florida, by the name of Ron LeGrand. And Jeff says, Ron LeGrand can teach us about private money. I said, well, what is it? Jeff said, I don't know, but Ron says we can get a whole lot of it very, very quickly. I said, great. So, Leo, that was my very first real estate investing seminar that I went to in February 2009. I have been doing this business for 6 years, just leveraging my experience off of being in the mobile home and manufactured housing business after that industry went to pot. And so I went to Ron LeGrand's seminar. I learned about private money. And I only had $1 million line of credit, which is nothing at the local bank. I was able to attract over $2 million in less than 90 days of new funding from private lenders, individuals.
All right, there you go. Leo Pareja, Jay Conner. If you guys want to see the rest of this session, this podcast with Leo and Jay, check it out on YouTube, EXP's YouTube channel. Jump on there, type in Leo Pareja, Jay Conner on the EXP YouTube channel, and just check out the rest of that podcast. It's got a lot more good stuff where that came from, so make sure you jump on there and check it out. All right, next up, we have the one and only, by the way, one of my favorite people at EXP University. Check this out, Alyssa Specht with a university spotlight. Take it away, Alyssa.
What's up, friends? Alyssa Specht here with EXP University, and I am fired up to tell you what is happening this next week in training, because it's going to be absolutely fire. So if you are looking to grow, if you are looking to sharpen your skills and actually walk away with some real strategies that you can use in your business today, then buckle up, because these sessions are absolutely stacked. So let's get into it, and we'll start with Monday. So Monday, we have our Level Up series with Ramon Casaus, and this is actually part 3 of a creative financing series. And let me just say, if creative financing is something that you kind of understand, but not enough to use confidently, this is your moment. Creative financing, that's your competitive advantage. All right, so then that's Monday. Then we're going to go on over to Wednesday, where we have got winning clients with the amazing Shannon Maxwell. Now, this one's all about turning great service into a magnet for clients. So she's talking about negotiation power. She's talking about a client-first strategy that helps you win even in tough markets. So if you want repeat business, if you want referrals, this is the one to watch. All right, then we're going to hop on over to Thursday where we have Executive Masterclass. This is such a good one. So this is where EXP's top leaders, they drop the strategies that are working right now. It's not just theory, it is real-time trends, tools, and action steps that you can apply immediately. All right, then we hop on over to Friday. Now, Friday, we kick it off like we always do with the big agent meeting. But you guys, Holly Mabry. Let me just say that. We've got Holly Mabry joining us. It's going to be an amazing session. She's our SVP of Broker Jobs, and we're going to be hanging out next week at the big agent meeting. So I want to see you here. And then lastly, on Friday, we're saving a good one for the last. It is going to be the Lab Podcast, and we have got the amazing Robin Mann. So yes, she's the SOI queen herself. She's back in the lab, and she's going to be walking you through how to build a thriving business from the people that you already know, and how to create a system that actually converts your database into closings. So you do not want to miss that one, trust me. All right, my friends, don't forget, you can find the links, all those upcoming sessions, and a whole lot more at expuniversity.com. All right, fam, thanks for having me.
All right, there you go. Alyssa Speck. Oh, again, one of my favorite people in EXP University. I love it every time I see her. She's always got a big smile, and she's living a pretty cool life right now. I've been watching her take some trips out west. It's been fun to watch her do that. So congratulations to that, Alyssa, and it's always great to do business with you and be around you. All right, next up, we have the one and only Brian Ellington, CLO of EXP, talking with Shannon Maxwell, talking about taking your business to the next level. Take it away, Brian.
Maybe take me back to the beginning. Because Shannon Maxwell today was probably not Shannon Maxwell back then in terms of both scale and also technique and strategy. So before we go there, though, today, remind me how much, and sorry for asking a dirty question, but how much business did we do last year?
So I did about 67 transactions, which in my market equals around 30 million in real estate deals. So
That's amazing. Congratulations.
thank you.
What percentage of that business would you say is generated through Facebook or social media in general?
So the last quarter, really most of my business was from there. So I've built this, I've kind of stepped back when the market started to go down a little bit. And I was like, hey, you know what? Like, I really just need to be in build mode. I'm not fearful. I'm not, these things, but we have to build something different than what we're doing because we're moving into a newer market. We're moving into, a newer way of doing things between agents and the internet and things like that. Like, how am I going to change this? And that's when I was like, well, social media is going to be it. I always hear everyone on TikTok and Instagram and things like that. But to me, I was like, there's not really much camaraderie on those groups. I'm like, how do I hit a group of people that are like-minded all at one time, where it's, you're hitting 4,000 people instead of 4 people in that same 30 minutes. Like, how am I doing this at a larger scale from getting in front of people? So by the time I figured things out, I want to say probably my last 2 quarters, I want to say about 80% of my business, if not 90% of my business, all came from Facebook groups.
Wow. You said camaraderie. Was that important to you as a real estate agent? Some would want that, some don't care. Why say that word?
Well, so, as real estate agents, we serve our communities. Communities want camaraderie. So they want to go somewhere with their neighbors, with people who are like-minded, who in their running groups, or if they, like holistic foods, or if they're homeschooled, or all of these different things, they want to be with their like-minded people. So we need to be where they want to be.
Got it. And so take me back. How long have you been in business, Shannon?
So 19 years total, but it was a little bit of a difference. So I've been in Nashville going on 10 years. Before then, I'm a designer. I specialize in kitchen, baths, and renovations. So I owned a millwork that when we weren't doing high-end projects like kitchens and bars, I was building, renovating, and flipping homes. And I did that for about 11 years. So I was the realtor of those flips, purchases, things of that nature. So I didn't come full time into real estate for, that was about 10 years ago where I was full time helping other clients and not just my own portfolio.
19 years. Before we're done, I want your facial routine because you don't look like you could have been in real estate for 19 years.
Well, thank you.
So take me back then. When did the internet or Facebook in particular, when did that become a force in your business?
So, when I started and I was with different brokerages, because I've only been with EXP, I'm going on 4 years, which, I actually just capped. I started my cap over in February. And with this
Congrats, and
Facebook
happy
groups,
anniversary,
I've,
by the way.
thank you, I've capped in 3 weeks just by doing this. So, that's kind of huge. But when we
Kinda,
first started, just a
just
tad,
kind of.
right?
Yeah.
So when I first started, they were always like, okay, put your open houses, put your just listed, do things like that and put them on, your local community groups. And then that's how you would invite people to open houses. Well, so
Mm.
as I'm doing this, I actually had lunch with a lender and I'm going like, I haven't found out the way of actually being able to pull them off of that. Like someone might heart it, they might like it, but we're not really getting their contact info. We might, do a Facebook ad, and those people, those are kind of not really that good leads and follow up and things like that. So I was like, I wonder how, we can actually like dive in and get this, rolling. And then that kind of started off of, what's the best way to get people and interact with people. So then we were like,
Mm.
okay, well, it's actually not open houses and things like that. And then it just dropped off. So I dropped off. That was probably, 5, 6 years ago. And I was like, okay, Facebook really isn't working. I need something else. So then we tried Instagram.
Can I pause
Go
you
ahead.
just real quick before you go forward? I'm curious. Back at that time, how had you built your audience? Were these just your friends and neighbors, people that you had? Were you purposeful about going out and creating an audience? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so pretty much I actually travel to events. I'm very heavy in agent to agent referrals. So I would
Mm.
network with other agents around the country. So I would go to like EXP Con or a regional rally that's not in my area, things like that, where I could network with other agents because, of course, I'm Nashville. So I'm a heavy migration pattern. So I wanted to be friends with people who had people coming to my area. So that's
Okay.
how I actually got my business started years ago.
Okay, so it sounds like 2019 timeframe ish.
Hmm.
You were out there kind of pounding the circuit of events and all of that, meeting
Hmm.
people and then friending them on Facebook. And so you were putting houses up to kind of show them that you're an act or open houses, show them that you're an active realtor and get their referrals that way. But then you said it wasn't really working for you, so you decided to try something else. What was
Yes.
that?
So I actually decided to try a different platform. So I then tried Instagram. And then, I was like, okay, maybe we can try text scripts, we can try events and things like that. And ultimately, some things would happen, but I didn't have the execution afterwards. So, like, I would do it and then I didn't have that follow up plan, which I feel like a lot of agents have. You
Yeah.
know, they get things so far and then they're like, oh, well, I have to follow up with this person 12 times or 18 times, and then you get discouraged. Well, when you do online things, it's even more. It's like what, 25, 30 touches before they respond to you. So eventually I would just drop off and I'm like, okay, this isn't working. I'm not really getting what I want. I'm just going to stick to what I'm good at, which is networking to agent referrals.
Hmm.
That worked pretty well for a while. And then, I'm still very heavy into that, but I'm like, okay, well, that's only one pillar of my business. So now I need other pillars of my business. So as agent to agent referrals is working well, I have to build something else that, let's just say, if agent to agent referrals just happen to disappear, I'm not crushing my business because I'm a business. I'm not just an agent. So I have to create income from other things other than agent to agent and my sphere. So I was like, okay, so what would be that next newly generated thing that I can do? So then I started, going around TikTok and, trying these things. And it was very hard because it was very one-on-one conversations and it was very hard to get someone to respond to you. And I was like, what can I do that will have someone interact with something in a grand audience where I can keep someone's back down where they don't think it's salesy.
Okay.
And then that's when I started with the polls and the Facebook groups. And then when I create the poll, someone just is like, oh, well, this is easy. I'm just going to click on this. I'm not commenting. I'm not doing anything like this. But now
Yeah.
they're actually engaging with my post. So I'm getting engagement. So now I would do different things like who's the best electrician in the area? Add your vote. And then people would add their sections and then they would vote for them. Well, now I actually have a buyer's guide of someone moving into that area that has the best electrician, best steakhouse, all of these different things that are from your peers, not from Shannon Maxwell. Your peers of this area say these are the best people that you need to contact.
Wow.
So that's how I started the engagement.
And you said you're doing it in groups. What groups are you joining? What groups are you starting?
So I actually started these groups. I started all kinds of groups. So the ones that make me probably the best amount of money are actually the buy, sell, trade groups. So it'll be like Nashville buy, sell, trade. The best thing
Okay.
about that is I don't have to put any content in there. People from the area are coming, posting their own things, which is putting the content in, which is causing the algorithm to get in front of other people. So they're just coming to exchange items online and I'm just having them grow. And these are actually people in the area, not other agents, not things like that. Do I allow other agents to come and post in my group? I do. I'm happy to have anyone else post because realistically, my groups, no one cares about me. My picture's not on the back of that post. They're coming to get their items. They could care less who's on the back. They could care less what agent runs anything like that. That's nothing to me. I just want to run a group in the area for everybody else.
Okay.
So that's what I started.
So pick a group that's been successful at creating business, and take me through from like start to finish because I've never created a group on Facebook. I don't know how to do it. So what's the group? How did you start it? How did you get people to join it or to see it out in the world? And then take me through the process of taking that interaction, whatever that might be online, and then converting it into a viable client for you.
So pretty much when you start the Facebook group, you have to really think about what area you want. So I have a county one for here for me. So I have Williamson County, Tennessee, and then it says Brentwood, Franklin, Spring Hill, etc.
Okay.
Because now really what you want keywords, right? You want someone that if they're looking for a search, if they're looking for a group, what name is going to pop up? So something like that. So that would be one of the county pages I have. Now to grow that, I would start 20 actual posts, which realistically, like if you go into ChatGPT and say, what's going on in Williamson County in this month, and they'll populate everything for you. I'm like, okay, here's the link, here's this. So I'll do 20 posts because no one wants to log on to something that isn't there. I invite every single person on my friends list. It doesn't matter if you're in the area, if you're not and you're California, I'm inviting you because ultimately I'm using you as a body, to get the numbers up. So, not everyone will accept the request that's in there, but usually a third will accept. But what I'll do is I'll go to a small business and I'll say, hey, the banner on the back of the Facebook group, I will give you free advertising on that for 30 days, but you have to invite every person on your friend list. And then because I'm an admin, I can see exactly who they invite. So now I'm going like, oh, well, now I'm going to friend request these people if they agree or not to come into the group. So now I'm friend requesting these people that are in the area that I didn't know previously. they're getting put on a spreadsheet. So I know that if they don't accept, I'm going to re-invite them until, they actually accept into the group. And then I will do that with small businesses to grow for probably about like 6 months.
I realize you have a team of people now helping you with this.
Yes.
When did that come about, and how much of your time was spent doing this? Because it's to the naive ear that doesn't understand how to do this, that sounds time intensive.
So it is, but it's just like lead generation, right? Like if you're going to lead gen for 3 hours a day, you just pick what that is. Are you door knocking? Are you cold calling? Are you hosting open houses? I chose to do it online. So I chose to do my prospecting this way. Now at this point, I have 6 virtual assistants and a director of ops on my team that, do a lot of this. And I don't really much do it anymore other than, hey, it's broken. How do we fix it? Or how do we do it better? Or these things. Like I've kind of taught everybody how to do it. I've actually created a VA bot on ChatGPT that pretty much says that, if this person says, oh, I'm going to die in this house, like they don't know what to say. So they'll copy that and they'll put that in the bot. And then the bot will come out with a script that I would say to them. And then anytime there's any type of thing where like they're asking specifically about real estate, that's when we get tapped in. Because of course, we have compliance things that only agents can talk about real estate themselves, but they can get on a calendar to speak to anybody and my VA will make sure that all that happens. But if they start asking specifically about their home and values and that nature, Rhiannon or I will get a message saying, hey, can you jump on this chat right now? And then I'll jump in on the chat. Even though everything's in my account, we just want to make sure compliance reasons, we're making sure that we're the ones speaking about money.
Gotcha. It's brilliant. I'm speechless. That's amazing. Cool. Anything else you think I should know about how you work agent-to-agent referrals via Facebook?
So I think the biggest thing is actually interview the agents because you're trusting them. So don't just jump after the first one that calls you, because you can be like, oh, I need this agent, and 15 people call you. That doesn't mean 15 people don't, they're not going to align with how you do business. And I'm not saying someone who's, newer or on a team or has all of these things, like speak to them and see who you align with. It doesn't matter, if someone sold 30 deals and someone sold 3 deals, that person who sold 3 deals might have more time for my client than say someone who sold 30 deals. So that necessarily doesn't, resonate with me any different way. I just want to speak to them and see how they are with that client, because how they are with me, I'm technically their client. So how are they going to treat me? And if they're treating me a certain way, level of respect and things of that nature, I know they're going to take care of my client.
Well said. And I suppose because you go to events and things like that, you can get face to face with a lot of these agents. Is that
yes.
when you have somebody, one of these 178 markets that you're in, and maybe you've been burned by a particular agent in that market, you don't want to use them anymore. Is it really primarily who do I know from an event, or are you seeking out people? And if you're seeking out people, what are you looking for there? How do you know whether or not that's the right person to even pick up the phone to call?
So usually I look, in EXP, we have referral maps. There's an EXP referral group, things of that nature, where I ask, hey, I'm looking for an agent in this area. Who do you know? And then people will comment on who they know, who I should speak to. But then I also go into EXP Workplace and I just look up the city that I'm looking for. And I see everybody who is in that area. And then I just call them. And I'd be like, hey, I saw you on Workplace. Tell me a little bit about your business.
Got it. And I suppose it helps to be part of a great rev share org like you are, and
yes.
be able to leverage that as well. That's so smart, Shannon.
All right, there you go, Brian. Great interview with Shannon Maxwell talking about social media and what you should be doing and not doing with social media to take it to the next level. Guys, I'm actually starting to double down on some of the social media stuff myself. I got a new program I'm going to be launching on the 20th this month, taking social media to the next level. So just take some of those tips, put them in your business, take your business to the next level. Social media is still a strong thing out there if you do it right and add value with social. All right, so there you go. There's a show for the 4th of July. Got some fireworks in that show for you guys. If you guys could hit this QR code, let us know how we did. Give us our NPS rating score on a scale of 1 to 10. If you did a good job and you got something and you can put it in your business this week, give us a good rating. Let us know how we did. And of course, always feel free to leave a comment to let us know that we're doing the right thing, going the right direction for you guys. All right, that's all for our show today. I will